Governor Ken Wallace took a brutal hit after J.D. Vance uncovered massive medical fraud and everything dating back since he was in office. So the Democrat Party is getting really, really bad. Everything is showing out what's going on with the Democrats. All the dirty secrets they had and all the this and that going on is coming out. So let's go ahead and get to the video, shall we? Enjoy.
$1 billion in Medicaid money is an example of the Trump administration weaponizing the federal government. Now, in 2017, the money repaid to the state of Minnesota for autism treatment was less than $2 million. By 2019, word got out that money was available. And then when COVID hit, the money really started moving until we see in 2024 almost $350 million.
And the fact that there are so many people handing out millions and billions of dollars of federal Medicaid money without even confirming that they're doing the thing that they say that they're doing, it's a disgrace. It's a defrauding of the American taxpayer, and we're stopping it. Caitlin.
Like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Let's get to Tim Walz, because that dude's sorry self need to be in trouble for what he did. The amount of fraud in Minnesota is so diabolical, it's crazy to me. And I honestly think that Tim Walz needs to be held accountable to some degree, because there is no way that you have billions of dollars of fraud in your state as the governor and you have no idea what's happening. That's just like a CEO of a company having fraud go on in your company and you going, I just didn't know. Well, that don't cut it. All right, let's roll a Fox News clip about Tim Walz and his autism fraud. Roll it.
And Martha, the fraud in Minnesota happened on a number of different platforms. The Vice President, Dr. Oz, yesterday focused on the autism treatment centers. And the allegation is that the treatment centers would encourage parents to get a bogus diagnosis that their kid was autistic. The treatment center would then get a check and the parents would get a kickback. The treatment centers could not receive surprise inspections because they were not licensed. Now that licenses are required, only 6 out of more than 500 centers are even applying for the provisional license. Dr. Oz says this goes all the way to the top of state leadership.
This is not a problem with the people of Minnesota. It's a problem with the leadership of Minnesota and other states who do not take Medicaid preservation seriously. Any delay in services is going to be should be laid at the seat of Governor Walz.
Now, Governor Tim Walz says the decision to withhold $250 million in Medicaid money is an example of the Trump administration weaponizing the federal government and punishing the people in a blue state.
The sense of retribution, no state has experienced this before. How does taking and punishing children and elderly have anything to do with fighting fraud when that's not where this issue is taking place? It does nothing.
Now, in 2017, the money repaid to the state of Minnesota for autism treatment was less than $2 million. By 2019, word got out that money was available. And then when COVID hit, the money really started moving until we see in 2024 almost $350 million paid out for autism treatment. Quite an increase in cases.
Indeed.
Back to you.
Mike, thank you very much.
In the world of policing and investigations, this is what you call a clue, right? This is what you call probable cause, or you can call it reasonable suspicion. When you see numbers like this, you have to look into it. Let me talk to the parents for a minute. If you've ever had that quiet feeling in your gut, wondering who is really shaping your child's values when they walk into a classroom, you need to watch this. There's a documentary on Angel called Off School Property, and it helped me understand what's really happening in school. It breaks down how the Bible, which was once fundamental in American education, slowly disappeared from the classroom. And when truth was pushed out, something else filled the vacuum. But here's what I appreciate about this film. It doesn't just diagnose the problem, it offers a real solution. It shows how families can legally and respectfully bring scripture back into the student's life off school grounds. No chaos, no breaking rules. Just parents stepping back into their rightful role as the primary guide in their child's moral foundation. I walked away informed, not afraid. This isn't about panic. It's about clarity. It's about courage, and it's about responsibility. And Angel is one of the only platforms willing to release films that ask hard questions and actually point families towards hope. If you're a parent, this is a film that you need to see. Watch Off School Property now on Angel and discover how families can restore truth and faith for the next generation, right? Because just say if your bank account, put that back on the screen if we got that chart. We could put 605 on there. if your bank account went from $1 million to $343 million in just this amount of years, I don't know how many years that is. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think so. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 14. 24 is 7, 7, 14. All right. My math skills, I haven't been in school in a while. But in 7 years, if I go from making $1 million to $343 million, like, just say it was a good thing. I think it should be looked into. I should sit down with my accountant. I should sit down with my COO. I should sit down with people and say, what did we do to jump in money like this? Because we need to keep this up, right? And so now when you see it in the wrong direction, meaning that we are now, just say that this was a vendor and I was paying a marketing company $1 million in 2017, and then I end up paying them $343 million in 2024 in 7 years. Somebody got to check and say, for that level of increase, by like 340 some percent, or 300 times, that's 340 times the number you had. All right, come on, let's go. Let me get the second clip of JD Vance. I just want to touch on this because Tim Walz and them acting like our government, the White House, is just being punitive towards them. Listen to what JD Vance said is the only requirement for them to release the funds, because Democrats and your sorry cousin them are going to be out here saying, look, they just taking money from a blue state. They explain to me how Tim Walz and the government in Minnesota cannot do this simple thing. Roll the clip.
Want to be in a situation where the state of Minnesota is being so careless with federal tax dollars that we have to turn the screws on them a little bit so that they take this fraud seriously. You heard Dr. Oz say this. Tim Walz could call him, could call me, could call anybody in the administration, and we've given him 60 days to respond to this. All we need the governor and the administration in Minnesota to do is something quite simple, which is to show that before you give Medicaid funds to somebody, you're taking seriously whether they provided the services that they say that they're providing. And the fact that there are so many people handing out millions and billions of dollars of federal Medicaid money without even confirming that they're doing the thing that they say that they're doing, it's a disgrace. It's a defrauding of the American taxpayer, and we're stopping it.
You know, there's times where I'm like, am I biased? Am I tripping? Am I just, because it's on our side, I'm just kind of like overlooking stuff? And then when you hear things, you're like, that is so simplistic. In any capacity of life, that's the legitimate way to deal with business. Are you really doing what you say you're doing? And if you are, we're good. If you're not, that's a problem. Here's Tim Walz's response. Roll it.
What do you think is behind this, from the immigration action?
If I knew what went on in Donald Trump's mind, I think the world would be really glad to hear me say what it is. I have no damn idea, Mary, what they're thinking.
Does it feel disproportionate?
Yeah, because I think the number is now 19 billion, according to the president. And, look, the thing about that is, and we've been very candid and open trying to solve this, misinformation doesn't help us fix fraud. Saying false numbers like this doesn't get to the reality of this, the actual tools to do it. Look, I see no other way to view this than I take him for his word when this is reckoning and retribution. They used false pretense to come in on Metro Surge, and we saw the catastrophic damage that was done and the deaths. Now we're seeing them turn to this. And again, I ask all of you, you're very versed at this. You followed this. You see this. So they're going to freeze the money because of fraud. What specific fraud? What did you see that the state didn't do? You've been hearing this. We've been doing all these. They gave you not one single grain of this happened that's fraud. And as we know, it doesn't make it right. This is in every state. And the numbers are bigger in other states because they're bigger. And they're doing nothing. And they're being very specific about this. And look, I don't know when sometimes somebody says that enough is enough. This is a targeted retribution against.
Targeted retribution? No, motherfucker. Okay? You let this fraud go on, Tim Walz. You was getting paid for this fraud going on. You knew these Somalis were doing it. You knew taxpayers' money was being stolen. And you did nothing. You just said like, sucking on your fucking thumb like an idiot child. I swear, if people vote for the Democrats again and shit bites them in your ass, that's y'all fucking problem. Let's get back to the video.
Against a state that the president doesn't like. The real shame in all this is a state that does healthcare as well as anybody.
Bullshit.
Healthcare outcomes, healthcare access, healthcare providers.
All
do
for
it as
foreigners.
well as anybody. And this Medicaid piece, I don't know how you can't use this statistic. CMS's own numbers say Medicaid error rates in Minnesota are 2.1%. National average is 6.4%. Why are you coming to a state with the lowest in this? And why did you make an arbitrary decision to, what's the word I'm using now? They're calling this? A deferral. It's not. It's a ransom note. It's the same stuff they did. They sent that on January 6th of when they're threatening us, and then what they wanted, voter rolls, they wanted everything else. So look, I've asked the president, we're tackling this. We want to partner with you. We need you to quit firing U.S. attorneys who are good at fraud. We need you to quit firing FBI agents who carried out their job. We need you to partner with us, because I don't know why this is so hard to understand. And I will continue to say this. You can trust me on this. The person who's angriest about this fraud is me. There is certainly no political upside to having fraud in your state, and it undermines the very program that I have spent a lifetime advocating for and trying to implement, and we have got criminals. It seems like the Republicans, the only people they're not concerned about in this is the actual criminals, standing with the criminals. This president has pardoned people who took part in Medicaid fraud, who were responsible for paying back almost $300 million. And because he pardoned them, that went away. This is some type of upside down world where we need the adults in the room. And I'm counting on Republican leadership here in the legislature to say, we're going to give them the tools to put people in jail who commit fraud. That would be a great thing. So, Mary, I can't answer you.
He's really saying they haven't identified any fraud. If you have had numbers go up by 300 times what it was before, if my math is right, then I think it's valuable to look into it and say, you need to prove why this is happening, or we can't give you the money because this is suspicious. If you had a bank account and one day you spent $20,000 in one place in a city that you don't live in, the bank is going to freeze the money and say, is this fraud? Is this fraud? We just trying to check so you're not getting screwed. Why the taxpayer should be like, wait, is this fraud? That like 70, 80% of all the government funding is going to Somalians in that state. What are we saying, bruh? I know it's fraud. When I was growing up, I cannot confirm it or not. I knew people doing fraud. That's exactly what we'll do. People putting their other people's kids on their taxes. You go down the street, homeboy doing taxes this year. They add all kinds of your tax return $20,000, and you ain't worked the whole year. It's fraud, bruh. Homeboy coming around selling polo shirts for $20 a shirt because they stole it from the dealers. This is what people do, man. I grew up around people doing fraud all the time. So when I see the Somalians doing this is the same thing they do in the black neighborhoods, in the hood, in the inner cities. We do the same fraud. People get prescription. You know a doctor that got his own practice. They giving you prescription drugs. You selling drugs on the street, $20 a pill. Like,